Stay here and let this voice exist beside you without trying to change you or move you anywhere, because nothing is being asked of you right now. There is no goal hidden in these words, no pressure to improve, no demand to become anything different from what you already are. This moment is simply a space where you are allowed to remain exactly as you are, without explanation, without effort, and without judgment. You do not need to feel inspired, focused, productive, or calm. You do not need to understand anything or hold on to meaning. These words are not instructions, they are presence, like background sound, like a steady hum that keeps you company while your thoughts come and go naturally. Some thoughts may feel repetitive, some may fade quickly, some may return again and again, and all of that is allowed. You do not need to follow them or stop them, just let them move through as they will. Time does not need to be measured here, minutes do not need to be counted, and nothing is being built or fixed. This is not preparation and it is not rest, it is simply being aware that you are here, breathing, listening, existing, and that is already enough. Your body already knows how to sit, how to breathe, how to remain without your control. You do not need to guide it or correct it. Sensations may appear like heaviness, lightness, warmth, or nothing at all, and all of it is fine. There is no correct experience happening here. If the mind wanders, it wanders. If it stays, it stays. If emotions are flat, dull, quiet, or distant, that is not a problem. Neutrality is not emptiness, it is balance. When nothing demands attention, the system settles naturally. You do not need to hold on to these words or remember them, they are meant to pass like ambient sound. You can listen without listening and still be here. Awareness does not need effort, it happens on its own. When you stop interfering, there is no beginning to reach and no ending to wait for. This moment does not lead anywhere, it simply continues, and continuation does not require force. If tiredness appears, allow it. If alertness appears, allow it. There is no need to label states or judge them. You are not falling behind and you are not moving forward. You are simply existing in a space where nothing needs to happen, and that simplicity can feel unfamiliar because so much of life demands reaction, but here reaction is unnecessary. Nothing will be lost if you stay, nothing will be gained if you leave, and that neutrality removes pressure gently. If thoughts about time, responsibility, or identity appear, let them float without engagement, like distant noise. You do not need to solve anything right now because nothing is asking to be solved. This space remains whether you pay attention or not, and you can return to it any time without preparation, without explanation, just by listening again and allowing the moment to be what it already is: quiet, steady, unchanged, and sufficient as it is. Remain here without expectation and allow this continuation to exist alongside you just as gently as the last, because nothing has changed and nothing needs to change. You are still allowed to be exactly as you are without adjusting your posture, your thoughts, your mood, or your pace. This is not a space where progress is tracked or meaning is extracted. It is simply a space where presence continues naturally without effort. You may notice that the mind occasionally tries to search for purpose or direction, and that is fine. You do not need to follow it or stop it. Curiosity can arise and dissolve on its own without needing resolution. These words are not guiding you anywhere, they are simply accompanying you like a steady background sound that does not require attention. You can drift in and out of awareness without losing anything because nothing is being held here. Sensations may shift subtly or remain unchanged, and both are equally acceptable. There is no signal you are waiting for and no state you are meant to reach. If boredom appears, let it exist. If comfort appears, let it exist. If nothing is felt at all, that is also complete. Neutrality does not mean absence, it means balance, where nothing demands reaction. You are not practicing anything and you are not learning anything. This is not preparation and it is not recovery, it is just continuation, without narrative, without evaluation, without urgency. Time does not need to move forward or backward here, it simply passes without Consequence: you are not using this moment for rest or reflection or escape, you are simply allowing it to be what it already is. Thoughts may slow or repeat or overlap, and all of that is fine. Awareness does not need to manage them. When attention wanders, that is not distraction, it is just movement, and movement does not require correction. You do not need to remember these words or focus on them. They can fade into the background while you remain present without effort. Nothing is being lost by staying, and nothing is being gained by leaving. This space exists independently of outcome, and that independence removes pressure quietly. If identity concerns arise, who you are, what you should be doing, where you should be going, you can let those ideas pass without engaging them. They do not need answers right now, because nothing is asking a question. This moment remains complete, without explanation, without intention, without resolution, and you can stay within it as long as you like, returning whenever needed, without preparation, without reason, without expectation, simply by listening again and allowing what already is to continue unchanged, steady and sufficient as it is. Stay within this unchanged space and allow the continuation to remain effortless, because there is still nothing required of you and nothing being shaped or guided. This is not a process, and it is not an exercise. It is simply time passing while you remain present without effort. You do not need to decide whether this moment is useful, meaningful or empty, because it does not need a label. It exists without purpose and without demand, and that is enough. The mind may occasionally attempt to create structure by counting time or searching for something familiar, and that is a natural movement, not something to correct. You can let those movements pass without following them, just as you would let distant sounds exist without turning toward them. Awareness does not need to focus sharply here. It can soften and widen or drift entirely without consequence. Drifting does not mean leaving, and returning does not mean beginning. Nothing is reset and nothing is interrupted. Sensations may be faint, noticeable or absent, and all of them are equal. There is no preferred state. The body already knows how to remain upright. Breathing continues without instruction, and presence does not require monitoring. If the sense of self feels clear or blurred, both are acceptable. There is no need to hold identity steady or define it here. Identity can loosen without being lost, because nothing is asking you to be anything in particular. This space does not move toward resolution or insight. It does not promise relief or clarity. It simply continues quietly and allows whatever appears to appear without response. Thoughts may echo, repeat or dissolve, and none of that changes the completeness of this moment. You are not waiting for stillness, and you are not trying to remove noise. Both stillness and noise are allowed equally. Nothing here needs improvement or adjustment. If time awareness fades, that is fine. If it sharpens briefly, that is also fine. Neither state has meaning attached to it. The absence of meaning is not emptiness, it is freedom from evaluation. You do not need to remember these words or hold on to them. They are not instructions and they are not reminders. They are simply sound existing while you exist, and both can pass without consequence. Nothing is stored and nothing is lost by staying here. Nothing accumulates and nothing is reduced. This continuation remains neutral, steady and sufficient without explanation, and you can allow it to continue exactly as it is, without effort, without intention and without expectation. Remain within this steady neutrality and allow the continuation to exist without interpretation, because nothing has shifted and nothing needs to shift. This moment does not require awareness to sharpen or soften. It does not ask you to stay attentive or to drift away. Both are equally acceptable here. You are not participating in anything and you are not observing anything special. You are simply present while time moves in its own way, without needing to be tracked, counted or shaped. The mind may attempt to re-engage by searching for novelty, meaning or progression, and that impulse can pass without response, because this space does not depend on stimulation or purpose. Thoughts can arrive fragmented, repetitive or incomplete, and none of them need completion. Sensations may appear briefly or remain distant, and neither state signals anything important. There is no direction embedded here and no outcome understanding, and it does not prevent them either. It simply allows whatever appears to pass through without reaction, without storage, and without consequence. If boredom arises, it does not need relief. If comfort arises, it does not need preservation. Neutrality does not need defense. It exists naturally. When evaluation stops, you are not staying for benefit, and you are not leaving to avoid loss, because neither applies here. This space remains accessible without preparation, without explanation, and without effort, and it continues quietly, steadily, and sufficiently exactly as it is. Continue within this unchanged simplicity and allow the presence of this moment to remain without needing to be acknowledged, because acknowledgement is not required for existence. Nothing is being measured, corrected, or moved forward here, and there is no background goal shaping what happens next. This is not a pause between actions, and it is not preparation for anything else. It is simply time passing while you remain without obligation. The mind may briefly attempt to organize experience by naming states or checking awareness, and that movement does not need interference. It can rise and fall naturally without being followed. Awareness does not have to stay clear or steady. It can blur, drift, or soften without consequence. Nothing here depends on clarity, focus, or calmness. Sensations may come and go quietly or not register at all, and neither condition indicates absence or presence. They are simply variations without meaning. Breath continues without guidance, and the body remains without instruction. There is no need to confirm posture, balance, or comfort. Nothing is being optimized or corrected. If thoughts loop, repeat, or fade away, they do so without needing resolution. This continuation does not accumulate insight or erase it. It does not build tension or release it. It simply allows what already exists to remain unchanged. Identity does not need to appear clearly here, and if it does appear, it does not need to be examined. You are not being asked who you are or what you intend. This space does not respond to intention because it does not require one. If time awareness disappears, that is acceptable. If it sharpens momentarily, that is also acceptable. Neither state leads anywhere, and neither interrupts anything. Boredom, comfort, neutrality, or restlessness can all exist without needing adjustment, because nothing is being judged. This continuation does not move toward completion or conclusion, and it does not repeat itself with purpose. It simply remains available without demand, without expectation. Stay within this ongoing neutrality and allow this continuation to remain without effort, because effort has no function here and release has no goal. This moment does not respond to intention, and it does not resist neglect. It remains steady regardless of attention level or emotional tone. You do not need to check whether you are present enough or relaxed enough, because no threshold exists. Presence does not increase or decrease. It simply is, and it does not require confirmation. The mind may occasionally return to itself, noticing awareness or noticing the absence of noticing, and both movements are ordinary and inconsequential. They do not signal progress, loss, or change. They simply occur and pass without residue. Sensations may drift through the body lightly or remain unnoticed, and neither condition needs explanation. Nothing is waiting to be felt, nothing is waiting to be understood. Breath continues on its own without rhythm needing to be followed, and the body holds itself without instruction. Posture does not need correction. Comfort does not need improvement. Discomfort does not need resolution. All states are allowed because no state is being evaluated. If thoughts appear fragmented, incomplete, or repetitive, they do not need to be completed or redirected. This continuation does not depend on coherence, meaning, or narrative. It does not lead toward silence or away from noise. Both are equal here. Awareness can widen, narrow, fade, or sharpen briefly without affecting the completeness of this moment. Identity may feel distant, irrelevant, or undefined, and that does not create absence, because nothing here relies on identity. Time may seem to pass slowly, quickly, or not at all, and none of those perceptions require adjustment, because time is not being used. This space does not offer rest or stimulation. It does not remove tension or create calm. It simply remains unchanged while experience moves through it. Without consequence nothing is stored, nothing accumulates, nothing resolves, and nothing needs. Remain within this quiet continuity and allow it to persist without being held or noticed, because noticing is optional and absence of noticing changes nothing. This moment does not rely on awareness to validate it, and it does not dissolve when attention drifts. It simply continues in the same way whether you engage or not. There is no advantage to staying alert and no consequence to drifting, because nothing is being maintained here. The mind may gently attempt to check where it is or how long it has been listening, and that checking can pass without response. It does not require correction or completion. Awareness does not need to be steady or clear. It can soften, scatter, or rest in the background without affecting anything. Sensations may surface briefly or remain distant, and neither carries meaning. Breath continues without pattern needing to be followed, and the body remains upright or relaxed without instruction. There is no need to adjust comfort or posture, because nothing is being optimized. This continuation does not offer insight, and it does not block insight. It simply allows experience to move without engagement. Thoughts may form partial sentences, images, or repetitions, and none of them need to resolve or connect. Identity does not need to appear clearly here, and if it fades, that does not remove presence, because presence does not depend on identity. Time may feel stretched, compressed, or irrelevant, and none of those perceptions need attention, because time is not being used. Boredom does not require relief, and ease does not require preservation. Neutrality does not need explanation. It exists naturally when evaluation is absent. This continuation does not progress, and it does not reset. It does not accumulate, and it does not release. It remains constant while experience shifts around it without effect. You are not staying for benefit, and you are not leaving to avoid loss, because neither applies. This space remains available without preparation, without effort, and without intention, allowing you to remain or drift alongside it freely, knowing that nothing is missing, nothing is required, and nothing needs to change for this moment to be complete exactly as it already is. Continue within this steady sameness and allow the moment to remain without reference, because reference is unnecessary here, and nothing is anchored to comparison, memory, or anticipation. This continuation does not depend on how long you stay or how often you return. It does not deepen with attention or fade with distraction. It remains unchanged regardless of engagement. The mind may briefly attempt to orient itself by noting sound, silence, or repetition, and that orientation can pass without response. Because nothing here requires alignment. Awareness does not need to settle into clarity, and it does not need to dissolve into absence either. Both are simply movements without importance. Sensations may appear as pressure, warmth, lightness, or nothing at all, and each possibility is complete without interpretation. Breath continues naturally without rhythm needing to be followed, and the body remains supported without instruction. There is no need to adjust posture, comfort, or stillness, because nothing is being refined. This continuation does not lead toward rest, and it does not move away from alertness. It allows both without preference. Thoughts may drift through, incomplete, circular, or fragmented, and they do not need to resolve or form meaning, because meaning is not required. Identity may feel present, distant, or irrelevant, and none of those states alter the presence of this moment, because presence does not depend on definition. Time may feel noticeable or dissolve entirely, and neither perception needs attention, because time is not being used. Boredom can arise without needing relief, and ease can arise without needing preservation. Neutrality does not signal lack, it signals absence of demand. This continuation does not accumulate understanding, and it does not erase it. Nothing is stored, nothing is released, nothing is concluded, and nothing is expected. This space remains open without invitation and stable without effort, allowing you to remain or drift freely, knowing that nothing needs to be done. Remain within this unchanged continuity and allow it to continue without recognition, because recognition is not required for presence, and absence of attention does not remove anything. This moment does not respond to interest or disinterest, it stays the same regardless of how it is approached. There is no correct way to be here and no incorrect way to drift away. Awareness does not need to hold itself steady, and it does not need to disappear either. Both states occur naturally without effect. The mind may gently attempt to measure duration or locate itself within the sequence, and that movement can pass without being answered because nothing is being tracked. This continuation does not rely on memory of what came before or anticipation of what comes next. It is not improved by continuity, and it is not broken by interruption. Sensations may arise faintly, strongly, or not at all, and none of those variations carry instruction. Breath continues without needing observation, and the body remains supported without guidance. Posture, comfort, and stillness do not require adjustment because nothing is being optimized. Thoughts may appear as fragments, echoes, or quiet repetition, and they do not need to connect or resolve because coherence is not a requirement here. Identity may feel defined, undefined, or irrelevant, and none of those conditions change the completeness of this moment. Time awareness may sharpen, blur, or disappear entirely, and each perception is neutral because time is not being used. Boredom does not require escape, and ease does not require maintenance. Neutrality exists without defense. When evaluation stops, this continuation does not move toward clarity, and it does not move away from it. It does not accumulate understanding, and it does not dissolve confusion. It simply remains while experience passes through without leaving residue. Nothing is gained by staying and nothing is lost by leaving because nothing is being exchanged. This space remains accessible without effort, without intention, and without explanation, allowing you to remain or drift alongside it freely, knowing that nothing is missing, nothing is demanded, and nothing needs to change for this moment to remain complete, steady, and sufficient exactly as it already. Stay here and let this voice exist beside you without trying to change you or move you anywhere, because nothing is being asked of you right now. There